Okay, as you can see here, got all these magnificent twisted tree trunks wrapped around the other trees up here. That's going to make for a very nice shot. I presume I'll probably have to do that in portrait orientation. We're right into the middle of this rainforest now, and it's very, very slippery here because it rained all day yesterday and the trail is fairly wet and muddy underfoot, but that'll be the first composition in the morning. And then just over to my right, I'll turn this one around and show you what I've got here. As you can see there, I've got all this entanglement here. You've got to love nature, don't you, how this actually works. Just an incredible place, and there's just so much to photograph here. It's actually like rope, natural rope from these trees coming down, wrapping around. So they're going to be the first two compositions, and I'll set up. And once I do that, I'll get back to you very shortly. Okay, as you can see there, you can see how I've got the camera placed. I'm actually angling it up at a 45-degree angle, and I'm shooting at 30mm, so that's just going to give me a really nice expanse. Now, there is sky in this image. Now, what I'll be doing, I'll be exposing for the sky, so I'm going to expose to the right a little bit. That way I can control the highlights without damaging the shadows when I have to raise the shadows in another big bird over there in post edit. So what I'll do, I've checked the histogram. Everything seems to be pretty well good. Yep, everything's fine there. I go this way, come back a bit for the sky, done. Okay, now what I like to do is I autofocus first and then switch the lens back to manual focus. Manual focus through here, and as you can see what I'm doing, that I'm at a rather really strange angle, but I'll give this a go. We'll have a 2-second timer, and away we go. Don't move around the tripod. Yeah, that's pretty good. The sky isn't too bad. I've got my highlight warning on, or my blinkies, and it's blinking a little bit, but keep in mind this is a JPEG image we're seeing on the back of the screen. Even though I'm shooting in RAW, I will be able to bring that out in post, so that'll be a quite an interesting image actually. Yeah, very, very, very unique. I think we move on to the next one, shall we? Okay, I've put the camera in portrait orientation and I'm photographing all these twisted vines and things, and I'm shooting straight through the middle. They've got nice ferns on the foreground here, in the foreground, all the way through to the background. Shooting at f11, ISO 200, because it's still fairly dark in here, and I'm shooting at around about 24mm, which seems to be the focal length that's working here this morning so far. However, when you are out photographing a landscape and you look at a scene like this, what I tend to do, I pretend that I'm at I'm in a theatre. I'm looking at a stage show or a play, and if ever you've been to the theatre and you've gone and seen a play on stage, or even your kids at school, you've been to see their plays at school on stage, I liken the fact that I'm looking at a stage play here, and the environment are the actors. Now, with every stage play we've ever seen, there's always one key actor, and then there's other actors on the outside of the main actor. And the main actor in this image, or this stage show is all these twisted vines here. Now, that's the main character of the play. So I've been doing this for a long, long time, thinking that way. And you might think, well, this is all gobbledygook, but it's not actually. If you're photographing something which is beautiful, and you've got to think of beautiful things when you do this type of photography. And I'm currently looking at a stage play here. I'm looking at a show that's on stage. Mother Nature has created this stage, and we've got the main actor, which is all these twisted vines. Then we've got all the other quieter actors hovering around the main actor in the stage show. So when you photograph the landscape and you're looking at your composition, try and think as if you're looking at a play on stage. You're looking for that key actor, because that's what you focus on. And all this other vegetation, that's what I like to call the other actors in the stage play. So if you can think like that, I can guarantee your images will improve. Photography is also a mental challenge. You have to think about, not just necessarily the landscape, but think about something else that you've seen, such as a stage show, like a play. Incorporate that into your scene, and you'll start to realise that, yeah, this is working for me. And I've been doing this for some time, and it just works. It puts my mind at ease. You're relaxed, you're in control. The main stage is in front of you. The main actor is all these twisted vines and leaves, and the other actors on the outside, who are the support act to the main actor, which is these twisted vines, are all in the foreground, midground and background. Think like that, and I think that your images will probably improve. Let's take a few more shots. Well, I've come to the further down into the gully, and it's very deep, this gully, very, very deep, very slippery too. Nearly took a couple of tumbles getting down to this part here. But as you can see here, we have this most magnificent scene. We have all the fernery here, we have the waterfall, and I've got two trees. One, two, that's going to be a natural frame. Regardless of which way or which orientation I actually photograph this waterfall. But just an absolutely spectacular scene here, and I think I will take a couple of shots here, there's no doubt about that. This is what I mean when I say you've got to keep looking around and just looking at your environment. Remember, this is a stage play. This is nature's stage play. The main actor is obviously the waterfall, and all the other actors are all the greenery and fernery here. Just absolutely magnificent, and this place is just phenomenal, really. This is probably, as I said in the previous video, this is probably the best location I've ever been to in the mountains, and I've lived here for over 23 years, so and that's saying something. But yeah, this is the lower waterfall. The bigger one's further up, which I will endeavour to get to on my way back out here. But yeah, look, this is just an incredible location. What are we doing? I've got the camera down low, which I'll show you in a moment, because I want to capture all this as my foreground, leading up into that most magnificent waterfall surrounded by those two trees, which is forming a nice natural border. Back to you shortly. Okay, I've got the camera down fairly low here. I'm shooting in portrait orientation because it's a very narrow scene here with those two trees like I explained earlier. I've got all this fernery down in the foreground, and that'll make for a nice, sort of like a carpet effect leading up to this beautiful little waterfall here. What a magnificent place, just incredible. It's bright sunshine now, but good thing about this type of photography is that you're still in shade because of the tree canopies, and when I take this shot, I will then show you something that I suggest you try, and you might think, well, that's a bit, why would you want to do that? But I'll take a couple more shots here, and I'll turn the video camera back on and I'll show you exactly what I mean when I use my mobile phone. Absolutely fantastic. So I'll turn this one off, take a few more shots, and I'll get back to you and just show you what I'm talking about with my mobile phone. Okay, this is the thing I was telling you about using my mobile phone. I've been doing this for some time. Some people use a view catcher, which is a little device which you hold up and you can frame it around your subject. Well, I had one of them and lost it in a waterfall a few years ago. And then you can do what the old directors used to do and do that to your scene. But what I do, I use my phone. Now, we've all got mobile phones. This is the only time I use my phone to take photos, and because to me it's not really photography. However, what I like to do is compose the image on my phone, which I'll do now, and then you'll see what I do after that. Okay, I'll take a photo of the scene, and I'm not necessarily worried about exposure or lighting or anything like that. It's more about the composition that I'm looking at, and when I do that, I take the photo with my phone, and then I turn around and face the other way. I turn my back to the scene, and the reason why I like to do that is because then I can look at the image that I've just taken on my phone, and I'm not comparing it by looking at it like this. So I turn my back to the scene, and then I look at the image, and I can see where I need to place my camera. I do this all the time. I've never shown anybody this on this YouTube channel, but that's exactly what I do. I take a photo of the scene, and then I turn my back to the scene and have a look at the image. That way I've got it here, and if I'm struggling to get the composition right, I just look at the image on my phone. The problem with using a view catcher or using the director's method is once that's gone, you really got to really do it again. And those things work, view catchers and the director cut works, but I like to do it with my phone. There's the image there. So take the photo, bang, turn your back to the scene, look at the image, and you think, right, I need the camera to be just to the left, it needs to be a bit lower, it needs to be a bit higher, probably push to the right a bit. If you try this with your phone, I can guarantee you your shots will improve. Give it a go. Well, just usually the way when you get to the end of your journey, you come across a scene which I have to say is just absolutely gorgeous. This is a beautiful location right here. It's towards the end of the track. This is a circuit. You can do it either way, north or south. I started in the north and worked my way heading south. And we've got this creek running through. This is the main waterfall behind me, which I'll show you in a moment. But you just, as I said earlier, this is a stage play from Mother Nature. A bit untidy, but it is just absolutely fantastic. If ever you do come here, wear proper hiking boots, waterproof ones, or good gum boots, or wellies as they call them. Don't bring out your $200 Reeboks or Asics or Nike sand shoes because they'll just get destroyed and you'll slip over and hurt yourself, and it'll be in all sorts of hurt here. So wear proper footwear when you do come here, because this is a very wet, lush environment, probably one of the wettest environments here in the mountains actually, because they do have a lot of rainfall here. But I'll go back down here, take a few shots, and then I'll spin the camera around and do a few this way. There's some really just unbelievable rocks here, moss covered rocks and ferns, and I'm in this deep gully here now, just absolutely fantastic. So what I'll do, I'll grab my phone, take that shot, then I'll turn my back on that shot and have a look at it on my phone, and then I can set up the composition exactly how I want it. Okay, as you can see, this is the scene that's I'm just about to photograph, and that is all this through here. Got these beautiful green rocks. This is just straight out of the GoPro. The colours here are just fantastic. It's just so wet and lush here that, yeah, I've quite frankly never seen anything like it in the Blue Mountains as good as this. Maybe the Grand Canyon Walk will give it a run for its money, but for greenery and green rocks and moss and a waterfall to boot, you can't beat it. So this is the situation. I'll turn this camera around and I'll show you exactly where I'm standing and what I'm doing, both in portrait and in landscape orientation. But over here, there's this beautiful timber, fallen piece of timber, all these roots that are growing all over it with green moss. This is what I'm saying, that the area is just, composition wise, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you'd never get sick of photographing places like this. If ever you do come here, please stay to the trails, because this is a very, very fragile area, there is no doubt. There's been movement here over the years, and like this big tree here come down some time ago. Can you imagine that? But just absolutely superb. I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you exactly where I am and what I'm doing. There I am there. And I'll go around and I'll show you exactly how I'm going to photograph this waterfall. The falls here like ice. Oh. Okay, so shooting at about 20 millimeters here, and got these green rocks as you've seen a minute ago, that beautiful timber and the waterfall. So what I'm going to do is I'll shoot this in portrait orientation, and then I'll turn it around in landscape orientation. That's pretty good. I've got the waterfall coming to my left, all the rocks here, the trees, the ferns. Really the only thing that's moving is the water. The ferns are slightly moving, but I can handle that. But yeah, this is what I say when you've got to build an image. We're looking at a three-dimensional image that we see with our human eyes, but our camera's only recorded in two-dimensional. So the idea is to build that image with layers, balance and weight. Now, with the weight of this image, it's all these rocks that are in the foreground. So once I shoot through there, it will be a very, very nice image indeed. This is what I say, always take a portrait orientation shot and then landscape. In these type of environments, you will be shooting a lot portrait orientation, because everything's very narrow, so very narrow through here. So I'll take this shot, give it a go there, 2-second timer, and shutter speed's about 2 seconds. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. What I might do, I might just change it around a bit, turn it around, and this is where this geared head's really, really good. Now what I like to do is make sure that my camera is level. There's nothing worse than having an unlevel camera when you're shooting. So by using the level on the Canon here, I can get it right. There's the green line, good to go. Okay, back to live view. Now, I can push it out just a bit. I might move it this way. That's good, because I've got this bit of a tree up there and I don't want that in the scene, so I've got to move the camera. See what my settings are. Yeah. Okay, we're good to go. I'll switch it to autofocus first, and I always do this. Autofocus first, and then I'm focusing on that timber, as you've seen in the video a bit earlier, and that'll give me extreme sharpness all the way through the image. So I'll just tweak it a bit manually. Geez, this is a nice place. High view again. Hit that shutter button. And we just wait while it cooks. Remember, this is a stage show we're looking at. We've got all the actors. Fantastic. Let's find one more. Okay, coming up to probably the last couple of shots of the morning here, and as you can see, I've turned the camera around from the waterfall, and this is where it always pays dividends to look behind you. Now look at this dappled light coming through the canopy there, and I've just noticed something magnificent here, and I might have to take this very quickly. I'll just turn this camera around and show you what I'm looking for. That's what I want to photograph there. But all of a sudden the light's changing, and there's a scene just happened right in front of me, or right to the right of me, and I'll just turn around and see if I can get this for you on the GoPro. Look at that there. Right there. The sunlight's hitting behind it and it's backlighting it. It's backlighting the fern. I will be taking that photograph. How good is that? I'll put these images up at the end of this video, but I'll get back to you shortly because the light's changing very quickly and I need to act quickly. So I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Well, that's it, guys. That's another episode of Sniper Photography here at the beautiful Mount Wilson Waterfall Walk. I have to say, it is an absolute magnificent location. I managed some really, really nice photographs this morning. Beautiful, beautiful compositions down there along the valley floor. Not all that cold. The fog lifted rather early. But I hope you learned something from this today, especially by using your mobile phone, how you can take an image with your mobile phone and then turn around, turn your back to the composition, and then look at your phone and see what you need to do. It's a very, very good way. It's a good technique to really nail your composition, is to take a photo with your phone, turn your back to the composition, look at your phone, look at the image, and remember that. And that way you can adjust as you go along. Really good way of doing that with your phone. Also too, remember what I said, it's like when you come into these areas, or any particular landscape area anyway, for photography, you're looking at a stage show, you're looking at a play. There's a play on stage, you've got a leading actor, which is the main part of your composition. Then you've got all these other actors around you, which also play a part of the composition, but they help anchor the show on the stage. So remember that you're looking at a stage play when you're trying to photograph a landscape, especially in trying to get your composition right. So I hope you learned by that. I'm going to put the images up at the end of this video. I hope you like them. Please put your comments and thoughts down below. I love reading them. If you have subscribed, thank you very much for that. If you're thinking of subscribing, please hit that bell and the icon next to it so you don't miss anything from any of the next videos that I'm prepared to put up here on Sniper Photography. So that's it, folks, for another beautiful morning here at Mount Wilson with the waterfall track and this magnificent, magnificent rainforest here in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales. So my name's Glenn Selma. You've been watching Sniper Photography, and as I always say, be nice to yourself, family and friends, but most of all, you keep shooting, keep smiling. Bye for now.